Welcome back to another episode of the Marriage and Real Estate Podcast. Today we have a guest.
You want to say your name?
This is Aisha.
And I'm Kevin.
Duh. They know it because it's our podcast.
Okay, sorry.
And we are joined today by Kencil, who has been regaling us with stories before the camera came on. So you better give us that same level of...
We want that same energy. Keep that same energy, fam.
Energy for this next...
Yes, indeed.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Our guest looks so nice, I had to go and change my outfit because I look crazy and everybody else look nice. You look really nice.
Thank you. You too.
So tell us your story, how you got to where you are now, what you do, and how you got into it.
Well, I started in real estate because every time I read an autobiography or a biography, it had real estate in it, you know. And what made me start reading was my mom. Not that she put a book in my face or nothing. Growing up in Louisiana, during the summers, whenever we were out of school, or even like on Saturdays, she would kick me out of the house and say, go find something to do. And that was more or less playing in the backyard or something, but it was hot. So we had a library that wasn't far from the house. So I would jump on my bike and go to the library really to get out of the heat. Yeah. So I started reading books, and that's where I really got the love for reading. And then it was a teacher told me that if anything of importance they want to hide it from us is in a book, like anybody, you know? So that's what I started seeing that. And I was like, okay, well, fast forward. My brother and I started various companies. And then some of the people that we talked to, he was in real estate. And then I just started remembering what I would read, like, okay, real estate is the way to go. So before real estate was cool, we were doing it. Yeah. So I started off with single family rentals first, as a lot of people do. And then I sold off all of those and then started doing just apartments.
Okay.
Oh, very cool. So what size are you? Like small multifamily, medium size, larger units?
We started off with small multifamily. Now we have medium sized multifamily, but now we're trying to go big. Like we're looking for 2,500, 200 units right now.
Tell our audience the difference between small and medium multifamily.
Well, small multifamily would be something that a lot of people talk about house hacking, where you live in one and then rent out the other three. So it'd be like a 4-unit multifamily. Medium size would probably be 8 or 10, you know, in one spot. And then bigger is bigger.
Very cool. So y'all are in the Houston market.
Yes.
But you're from Louisiana.
From Louisiana.
So how long have you been here?
Well, it's going to be almost 2 years we've been here.
So you just got here?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
So all of the property that you own, is it in Louisiana?
Yes, they're all in Louisiana.
And y'all have any here?
Not yet, no.
Okay, but looking.
So where in Louisiana are you from and where do you invest?
We are from Church Point and Opelousas area, and we've invested anywhere within
my family's from Opelousas.
Okay, got it.
On my mom's dad's side.
Oh, okay. All right, that's awesome. Yeah. So anywhere in Southwest Louisiana, we don't try to go North Louisiana, but I mean, we open the deals anywhere. I mean, we'll create management somewhere.
Okay. So we're on the Marriage and Real Estate Podcast. Are you the one who does all of the real estate? Does your wife have any kind of involvement in it? What does that look like?
I do like maybe 95% of it. Okay. Yeah, my wife, she does have input. She's good with spreadsheets and Excel spreadsheets and all that, you know, all that jazz. She's good with that, and she likes to pick colors. She loves to pick colors.
My wife don't pick a color.
Typical.
My wife don't pick a color.
No.
Some people. So whenever people hear that we do real estate, everybody's like, "Oh, so does he the builder and you do the design?" No. Whenever people come to see the houses that are built, they go, "Oh, Aisha, what made you pick this?" I didn't. I don't do any of those things.
What she does is have all the big ideas. So we wouldn't build nothing. I'd work a job. I'd keep it basic because I just love building. But she was really the mastermind behind us investing and knowing what we could do and saying, hey, here's the information. Like your mom, she gave me all the books. Say, hey, I'm reading this. You read this. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Go do that. And that's how we got into investing.
Gotcha. Yeah. But he has a great design eye. So anything that we have built and put together, which I'm looking to take that out of his hands, but he's really good at it, but he has a great design eye, so the designs come together really well.
Right.
What about, so do y'all renovate? Y'all buy and renovate? Or
yes, we buy. We haven't built new yet, but if we do, we know who to call. We haven't built new yet. We call it buy crappy into happy. So we buy something that needs sometimes a whole gut out, sometimes just cosmetic. But of course, you make money whenever you buy. So we buy, pennies on the dollar a lot of times. Yeah. And, we put money into them, make them nice, new and fresh. And then we just rent them out. And I usually just squeeze them tight and I don't sell nothing. But like the apartments, but the homes, I sold them because, we had 5 homes here, 3 homes there, 4 homes. And it just going all over, calling contracts to go all over is too much versus when you have 8 properties in one spot, you call them to that one spot and get it done and get out of there. Yeah.
So how many units do you have now? And how many units do you want to trade up to?
Right now we have 18 and there isn't a number I want to trade up to. I'm going to buy until I die. Yes, indeed. I'm buying until I'm dying. That's for sure. I love it. I'm not stopping. It's not like, I get this many doors, I'm going to be fine. No. Buy until I'm dying.
It's funny. I told somebody that when we probably 2 or 3 years in the real estate and somebody asked like, they're doing this now. They trading Bitcoin. And then I said, I do real estate. I say, when you done said and gone doing what you're doing,
indeed.
we going to be in real estate. Yes, and I said, rain, sleet, snow, we're going to be in real estate. And that's how I feel because it's tried and true.
That's it.
They ain't making no more dirt.
Nope.
It works. People always got to have a place to stay. Yep. And that works for us. So,
It's interesting because when we first started envisioning what we wanted to do, we had a goal for how many doors?
65 doors.
65 doors. Kevin had this whole equation for 65 doors.
65 doors equaled $19,200 a month.
Okay, see, there was a number. And he was like, if we do 19,200,
then we never have to work again.
Nothing else. But we were single family investing at the time too.
Oh God.
Yeah. And
So we bought 30 single family doors. Well, some were small. We bought 1 5-unit, 1 duplex, 2 commercial building, and the rest were single family.
Gotcha.
And in the process of buying those 30 doors, I realized that owning 65 doors was not the bee's knees. No. I was like, this is inefficient as hell. We had a guy, crazy story. So we bought this big package of properties in Beaumont. So we were getting like tagged left and right. So there was some young guys broke into one of the houses that hadn't been renovated yet, got power turned on to it, set up a table, start serving crack in the driveway. We had to do like a sting operation, be on the phone with Beaumont PD, sending everybody to jail. Big hurricane hit. Thankfully, all the properties were on pier and beam, so nothing flooded. Just a little bit of water got on like one of the garages. Anyway, right before the pandemic, we were able to sell off the entire portfolio. So we bought all this stuff. We had Airbnbs, single family rentals, and then this big package. And it was a mess. Man. So we were able to get out of all that. And now I tell Aisha, I said, other than stuff that we build, maybe we keep 1 or 2 here and there. Like we're about to build a triplex that we're going to keep. And then, other than that, it's only bigger units, man. I'm not even messing with it.
Yeah. And that's the whole idea. My initial goal was to make $30,416.67 a month. You multiply that times 12.
And these exact ass numbers.
If you multiply
that, based on what you want to live
that's
like.
it.
Like what you want your life to be.
$77.76.
You multiply that times 12, you come out to $365,000.04. So my story was that the 4 cents were going to go to 1 cent for my wife and 1 cent for each one of my kids because I have 3. Then 365 was for me. My wife told me you're going up in divorce court with your 365. So I had to change that number. I had to include everybody. But yeah, that was my initial number. I wanted to make $1,000 a day. Okay. So, and it's just like, well, okay. I had a few people say that's too small. Like you better think bigger.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to ever stop buying. Like,
what's crazy? You got to buy to realize that you don't want to ever, you have to go to a level to realize it's not enough.
No.
Because people tell you and you think it's enough.
Correct.
Until you get into it, you go, this ain't, and as you get smarter and you learn how to do deals, you go, Well, all this work that it took to buy this one,
yes. I never understood that. I would hear people say that, like, the same amount of energy it takes you to buy this 4 unit, it'll take you to buy this 50 unit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's no way. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's honestly the same thing in business. And as we pivoted our business, we sold all that and really focused on building our home building company. For us, the business became just as an important investment as the real estate.
Gotcha.
And what we realized is, and it's like you with the trucking business, which you can talk a little bit to that too, but for us, what we realized is if I want to make $20,000 a month, I have a business that can get me that.
Correct.
I don't even need the 65 doors. And then I can use that money to invest in stabilized properties.
Right.
Well, I don't have to do all that work.
Right. Yeah, the trucking part is what helped me get into real estate. But the trucking thing, that's my brother. He's like, hey, I tell anybody, and I'm going to say it live, not live, but I'll say it on this podcast. If anyone comes with the same background as my little brother and like with no connections, because it was his vision for the trucking company. And we started off with just his vision and a little money in our pocket and started it. That isn't a person his age with his background that knows trucking more than him. I don't care who it is. I put him against anybody. Before trucking was cool.
I think it's important that you say that. Before trucking
was cool, this guy.
Trucking only been popping for like 18 months.
Right. Right. Before you're a truck driver, like, oh my goodness. No, I remember he has always wanted to be a truck driver.
Really?
I mean, I'm telling you, he has always wanted to be a truck driver.
Is he married?
Yeah, he's married now.
Oh, because I'm about to say all the girls want a truck driver. You got a truck. I'm a truck driver.
Yeah. Oh, he was like, my dad always drove. Well, my dad worked on a farm, and then my dad always drove trucks. So my uncles drove trucks and all that. So he always saw those trucks. I always wanted to be a businessman. Had no clue what I was gonna do. Now,
really,
I'm serious. I forgot.
Being a businessman.
I'm trying. I forgot the story. And then one of my friends that I went to school with. Her and my wife are friends, and she said, Kencil, you remember you went to school in 5th grade out with the briefcase? I'm like, oh my goodness, I did. I had an aunt that was in the military. She came back home, her and my uncle, and they had a little briefcase, a little small, and she said I could have it. I should put all my stuff in it, walk around the house with it and stuff. Well, they asked for career day. This is in grade school, like 5th, 6th grade, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? So they're like, come to school dressed like what you want to be to grow up. Why I went to school with some slacks in my briefcase. The problem is that my uncle, who is my mom's younger brother, he bet me. He said, bet you $10 you can't go to school the whole week with that briefcase. That is the hardest $10 I ever made. Because we lived like, I walked to school.
Yeah.
So you had to carry the briefcase
I had to carry the briefcase and walk with all my friends and get teased. Going to school, at school, coming back for 5 days. That was the hardest $10 I ever made, but I stuck with it, and he paid me too.
Now look, I had my briefcase time. I sold candy at school, and I used to carry it in like a briefcase style thing. But I always had money though. Like that was the thing. I'd go to Sam's, and I'd buy a bunch of candy wholesale, and then I'd sell it out retail.
Yeah.
So I always had money, but then I ended up running the school stores in my high school.
What?
I ran both the school stores.
What?
And I did that my junior and senior year. So I was like that nigga.
Yeah.
You're the school store guy.
I had money. I had an office on campus.
What?
And I knew everybody anyway, and it wasn't a big school, but literally everybody knew I did business.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
You know what? I think people might want to know when you first started investing in apartments or even single family. How did you invest? Where'd you get your funds?
The first thing I did was that I'm a firm believer relationships will get you in rooms that money won't.
Okay.
So me growing up in the town I grew up in, the investor, he's now 90 years old. He saw me grow up. So he had this abandoned fourplex, and I was so nervous to ask him. He owner financed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went to him, I asked him to owner finance. He said, I'll do that. I'm like, what?
Really?
Yeah, just like that. I'm like, because I'm thinking, him older, he didn't even know what owner finance was. Yeah, I'll do that. He said, just drop the paperwork. So I bought the fourplex and an adjacent 1-bedroom. So I pay for closing costs and all that. I'll pay him every month. Every month I'll pay him. And I use funds. So far we've used all of our own money. We haven't had any investors. but we're starting to use, we want to use investors on our next deals. So I've always funded them with our own money. So I'm driving the truck. You know, I'm, at the time, my brother and we had cattle. So I'm, you know, basically like my wife would say, I was stealing from Peter to pay Paul. So we did that for a couple of
So you've never had a job?
Yeah, I had a job, man.
What was your job?
Driving truck.
Well, I was driving truck.
No. I'm talking about like a job for somebody.
Oh yeah, I was in the oil field, and all that type of stuff. I was in law enforcement, all that. Yeah, I did all that.
So hold on. Rewind. Take us all the way back. Out of high school, what did you do? And then from high school to when did you?
Out of high school,
it's real estate stuff.
Yeah, out of high school, I was like everybody's first job, more than likely McDonald's. So I was there. I worked like odd jobs here and there. Then I went into law enforcement for a little while, and I left law enforcement, and then I was in the oil field and just working odd jobs, like kind of as I tell my kids, I was just meandering through life because I knew I wanted to do something greater. My biggest thing was that I didn't want to make someone else rich. And my last job that I worked in the oil field, for some crazy reason, I was able to see all of the owners every day because they actually worked in the company. And it didn't really bother me because, you know, they were a good group of guys to work for. Mm-hmm. But it's still like subconsciously did bother me because I'm like, this is a great company, great guys, but man, I'm still making them rich. You know, I'm not making myself wealthy, you know? And a few of the owners, I talked to them about building wealth, and they just opened the book to them. It was like, hey, this is what you do. No, don't do this, don't do that. And then I was laid off just because of the economy. You know, I was laid off. And then I was forced to go drive the truck. So then that's whenever I ended up getting my CDL in 3 weeks.
Oh, man.
3 weeks. And I did third-party testing. You can't even do that anymore. So I ended up getting my license, and then I was just using the funds. I was running all week, barely seeing my family because I would work all week. On the weekend, go work on the building. You know, I went to YouTube University, learned a lot of that stuff. You probably wouldn't appreciate that because you're a great builder with all these credentials, and I'm straight YouTube University.
Hey man, you got it done.
Before YouTube, there were books.
Yeah, right.
Like I have, this is gonna make me sound old, but I have like literally hard periodicals, like books on how to put everything together, like every single aspect of a house. And I have volumes of it. If you look at my bookshelf in my office, you can see my whole career there because I started studying. I wanted to be a builder since I was 12. So I used to study it. Like, I
got a story about that. Check that out. This is so crazy. All right. I attended the middle school. So the middle school's here, and then the first building, the first apartment complex I bought is here. One day I was working in there, and I'm just working. I start thinking about our counselor, Miss Michaud. I don't know if she's still alive, but Miss Michaud, we had to take an aptitude test. The aptitude test said I should be a carpenter. And I wish I could get my hands on it. Said I should be a carpenter. And I'm like, man, how you become wealthy to be a carpenter? And I told the story to my wife, Val, and that's what she told me. It's hard for you to be what you can't see. They had like a handful of carpenters that looked like me, and they were successful, but like now I know they were successful, but they didn't have the big old company truck. They didn't have the decals everywhere, but they were really successful. They still are to this day. Yeah. So it's like, I always like building stuff. I used to, I built stuff when I was younger. Like we had horses and stuff. So me and my brother and my dad would build stalls and, horse stalls and all that. And none of them fell. So we obviously knew what we were doing. But yeah, that's cool that you just went off the book.
But representation is important. When I was younger, my father would take me in the houses that they were building in River Oaks.
Okay.
And be like, this is what you do.
Right.
And I just caught the bug.
Man, that's
like
cool.
It's all I've ever wanted. It's funny because I can't see anything else.
Got you.
Like it's that clear. And it's funny, even now with our son, I tell him like, you're a builder, you're whatever. I like pour it into him.
Correct.
Because I want him to get it. So I bought him all his stuff, like his mat, his pajamas, all heavy equipment.
Let's go.
All heavy construction stuff. And I do that because I want him to get that same spark.
Gotcha.
So when we drive by a construction site, he's like, it's like my book. He's like, whatever. He's like, can I drive it? Can I, whatever. I want him to feel as passionate about it because I've had a great life of loving what I do every day.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And if I can give that to him, that's the best gift I can ever give.
Right.
I appreciate you sharing like the backstory, right? Because we listen to interviews and podcasts and, clickbait internet, and we hear about people's success in real estate. Like, you have a pretty decent portfolio. I'm impressed. I want one. But what we don't hear is like where you started and what else you did before you got there. And so the internet makes, us in real estate look really sexy, but we hardly ever get to hear the part about I worked at, McDonald's, and then I did this, and then I made somebody else wealthy, and then I got this owner finance. Yeah. So, it's funny because we were talking to a girl who works for us, and she was saying how she wanted to buy a fourplex and an 8-unit, and I was like, okay, well,
you need to go to rural Louisiana.
Where you go? Okay. I was like, where are you going to get the money? She was like, oh, these owners, they want to get rid of them. And so they just, they'll let me on, you can owner finance. And I'm like, where they at?
It's not in the major market.
If that's the case, you don't think somebody with a whole bunch of money just going to say, hey, guy, I could just take this off your hands as opposed to just owner financing. And so when I heard your owner finance story, I was like, oh, that sounds a lot like what she wants to do. But then also, how realistic is that for everybody?
Right, and that's true. So far I've done 3 already.
Yeah.
It wasn't the first one. I've done 3. And it's just talking, like just speaking to them. That's it.
I mean, we're doing owner finance now.
No, I'm not saying that owner financing isn't available. I want people to understand, like, it's relationship based. You can't just walk up to somebody and say, hey, sure. I want to do
and it's also a tool based on education. You have to know what it is and how to apply it.
Yes.
Because sometimes the numbers don't make sense. But if you know how to use it, it's as powerful as a tool as traditional finance.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
But no.
That is so true.
We got to get your wife on the podcast and have you guys come back and tell the couple story. But we appreciated hearing your story today, and we definitely I know you guys do social media and stuff, right?
Yeah, on Instagram is Kencil Joseph, KENCIL _Joseph.
There we go.
On Instagram, and I need to start posting more of the journey because I think I have like 20 posts. I'm right in that middle of a millennial, and I think my daughter said a Gen X, one of them, and it's like,
when were you born? Where you were born?
84.
Oh no, you're a millennial.
Yeah. Oh,
you're a whole last millennial.
Yeah, we had this debate last.
Yeah, because Breon's the oldest millennial.
At 81.
At 81.
Yeah, 84. So it's like I want to post
what's the board say? 81 to 96.
96.
And I want to post stuff. I don't want to post stuff. So I'm gonna start posting more stuff of, like just the nastiness of like real estate to the pretty. So I'm gonna start posting that.
We love to see it.
I have a lot.
Plenty out here.
Well, no, thank you. We look forward to having you, your wife, on the podcast again. And this has been the Marriage and Real Estate Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe and smash that like button. And we'll see you guys next week.